Welcome to the Positively Healthy Mom podcast, where positive parenting meets well-being. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the Positively Healthy Mom. I'm your host, Laura Ollinger, and today I'm so excited to welcome my guest, Sophia Torrini, who is a certified clinical EFT practitioner and NCS trainer with Dr. Joe Dispenza. So, Sophia, that was like a mouthful, and for those who don't know what that is, can you give us like a description of both EFT and, fill me in on NCS as well?
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me on the show, and it's an honor to be here and to speak to your audience. So, clinical EFT is evidence-based, so it's not just getting trained from a little course, and it's tested and evidence-based. So that's why we focus on clinical EFT. The NCS is the Neurochange Solutions program that Dr. Joe Dispenza has created, and how we can use neuroscience to change our beliefs and change actually our reality, which is a projection of our mind.
Yeah.
My goal is to help and empower people to let go of limiting beliefs and patterns that have plagued them for a long time.
Yeah. And so to go back even another step, I always like to start at like the kindergarten level for people. The EFT is emotional freedom technique, which people are commonly, used to the word tapping. So can you talk a little bit about what that is?
Okay, so clinical or EFT, which is emotional freedom techniques, as you said, is a combination between cognitive psychotherapy and tapping on the acupuncture points, so having acupuncture without needles, because the belief is that emotions get stored and blocked in the body, which is accurate. And when that happens, the signals between cells gets lost and the frequency drops in the body. So when we release the emotions, which is energy in motion, body starts to flow better. And I want to stress for the audience, while thoughts you originally start and we have an emotion, it's the emotions that hold the beliefs. So when we let go of the chemistry, the emotions, we can actually, when we release one emotion, we release many beliefs at the same time. It's very healthier or more efficient time-wise to release the emotion first, and then that's how you transmute the limiting belief.
Cool. So that sounds like amazing. And I, by the way, have done EFT myself. Of course, anytime I have somebody on the podcast, I want to make sure that I'm familiar with it and then I've at least tried it or experienced it in some way. So I found it to be a very powerful tool to help me get through some difficult times in my life. But how can moms use this on like a daily basis with just like daily common stress and the responsibilities that we feel as moms?
Okay, so one common thing that mom has is overwhelm from the too many tasks, right? And all these emotions are coming in the body, and now you're getting flooded. So the overwhelm is like an alarm system. If we can sit down and feel the emotion by tapping through it and breathing through it, remember the overwhelm is like an alarm, right? So we tend, when we are overwhelmed, we do shallow breathing. So if we can tap and breathe properly, we are releasing the emotions, and we can perhaps prioritize what we need to do versus think that we need to do the 100 things. Because when we're in this anxious state, we feel we need to do whatever it is we put in front of us, and we keep on judging ourselves unconsciously for not having completed all those tasks. And after the overwhelm, you end up realizing you haven't done anything because the overwhelm kept you with the thoughts racing. So tapping is a wonderful way to release that overwhelm in the body. And as you know, it doesn't take very long, and you get an automatically cognitive shift or an awareness. You know what? Maybe this can wait till tomorrow. I'll just need to do this. And now they can function and be more present, right? At the end of the day, because what mothers end up having, besides the overwhelm, is the physical stress and the tiredness, because these emotions are low frequency. If the emotion was joy and happiness, if the mom was working 20 hours, the body wouldn't feel tired, right? Low frequency emotion that's causing the body to feel exhausted, stressed, and drained.
And then how would you, I mean, this is just, I'm experiencing this thought in real time as the audience is here, hearing it as well. So how would you, once you release that emotion, how do you go about with like replacing it with maybe a more positive or empowering, energizing emotion?
Uh, well, that's when we consciously do a pattern redirect.
Mm,
Start perhaps feeling grateful for what we have,
mm,
thinking of a positive memory. And for some people, if they're going through a really hard time,
mm-hmm,
maybe thinking of a pet. It doesn't have to be a person. Something to activate the heart, right? The
mm,
gets us to this overwhelm, right? So it's all these thought patterns. When you activate the heart and the positive feeling,
mm-hmm,
it's going to give you better guidance.
mm,
So we have a concept that's talk, brain, and heart coherence. When we align the heart with the brain, so if we can activate the heart, then solutions are going to come. Possibilities happen. So after you've done your tapping, you could do a conscious redirect. You know what? I have 2 minutes, just 2 minutes,
mm-hmm.
and let me think of a positive memory. Let me think of someone I love, maybe a pet I love, or the fact that I have children. I'm grateful that I have them, even though sometimes I'm frustrated, but I am grateful that I have children because mothers love their children.
Yes, yes. Well, I think that's important for moms who, they're like, oh, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. What can I do about this? Oh, I heard about this great lady. She is in EFT. And I think what I want to know is like how that helps. And I think I get it now. Like, I think if someone were to come to you and say, hey, I'm really stressed and overwhelmed, like what would be, I guess, the process that you would take them through? Like, besides what you just told us, is there kind of more to it? Like, what else happens?
So, whatever we experience as patterns now in life were developed from our birth till about the age of 7, and we can stretch it to 13. So, each person has its own default patterns, right? Some people goes into fear, some people go into overwhelm, some people go into anger. When we go back and find memories, perhaps their own mother, now we have this mother that I'm working with, but her own mother, her default was overwhelm. That's what got programmed in the current mom. Once we can go back and release that emotional attachment from that memory, because now it's a memory, right? This mother is not experiencing, maybe she can find another way to behave, right? So, whatever we practice in life today is based on our programmed beliefs from those ages. So, I usually like to go into the past to release those root causes. We call them an imprint, whatever you want to call them. That way, we can see another way of behaving. And free, because that's the only way you've learned how to behave. I don't know if your clients or your audience has heard the Pavlov experiment with the dogs. They got programmed with the bell and the food, and they started salivating. All they need is an image and a response, an emotion and an image. So the memory of the mother, their own mother, is causing this to be an automatic behavior. So I don't work in the now. I clear the root of the cause because that's what's ultimately going to liberate the mind.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what comes to mind for me is like, I find my time of day where I feel that stress and overwhelm is that like dinner time. And I asked myself, where is this coming from? Is this, was my mom really stressed at dinner time? Was this her pattern, or where is this coming from? And I do think it's important for me to understand that so that I can then redirect myself, like you're saying, so that then I'm not passing that on to my kids. So I'm sure you see a lot of that. So talk to us a little bit about what how that gets transferred then to the kids, in real time.
Okay, so let's discuss from early birth, pre-birth, and then later on, and so we know. So the mother's connected with the baby. right? So the limbic brain, which is the emotional part of the brain, produces chemistry. So if the mother felt overwhelmed, so the reason for emotions is for the chemistry to go to the body to give a message and to be processed. If the mother did not process that overwhelmed, it stays in her own tissues, also gets transferred to the child because it's like the mother, let's assume the mother was taking heroin, right? That heroin still goes to the baby. Same thing with emotions because emotions are chemical. So they transfer to the baby right away. And the reason it gets transferred is because reality wants to prepare that child for that environment if there's hope, right? But the mother doesn't know what to do with it, so it remains unprocessed. Now let's talk about what happens when the child gets born. If the mother continues to either be angry or overwhelmed, whatever the emotion is, or perhaps it's fear, children start with delta brainwaves and then they move to alpha. So, which is why babies sleep for the first 6 months. But delta and alpha brainwaves are the programmable brainwaves. That's the brainwaves we use in hypnosis. So the child is in the trance and whatever, and it has mirror neurons on top of it. So whatever is happening in the world, it's going to become the default programming of the child. Perfect example is the terrible twos. If there was too much aggression or yelling in the house, the child picked up the yelling, it's going to yell back. And if the mother kept on saying no, the child is going to keep on saying no. That's all it knows. It mirrors, that's why they're called mirror neurons. It mirrors the reality of the witness. So, what a mother who's expecting, or a mother who already has children, the best thing she can do is process her own emotions and show calmness and affection. And many studies of twins growing up in different environments, identical twins. If the home is loving and calm and supportive, the child will grow very open to new ideas, more supportive, and to growth, versus an identical twin growing in another environment that is not supportive. So that's one thing the mother can do. And if we can't remember how we got created or what was the memory, the question that I like to ask is, what is it that I'm feeling in order to experience this? Maybe there's an event that happened, and then after I release the emotion, the memory might get released. So usually, if we can release the emotion, memory gets uncovered. I want to address another component that most people probably don't address. Emotions and feelings are not the same thing. Most people think they're the same. Emotions are just the chemical production in the body, and they last 90 seconds. So people who are having an experience that's lasting a day or 2 days, it's not the emotion, it's a feeling. It's attributes, the patterning we put, the labeling we put, where we keep the thoughts looping, and now we're unconsciously producing more chemistry in the body. If we just allowed the sensation, the bodily sensation with the chemistry to be processed and be present with it, it would leave in 90 seconds, which is what happens in animals. There's an experience of an emotion the animal is feeling, it shakes it off, and it never remembers it took place. Unfortunately, we have not been trained anymore to do that, to shake it off. A lot of people, when they start their healing process, the body starts to shake when they release the emotion.
Yeah, yeah, super interesting. Awesome. So, what are some takeaways? Are there any actionable steps that moms could do, like right now, today? Like, should we try some tapping? What can we teach them with just kind of what you said that would be maybe something applicable to the whole, universal?
First thing, without having to know tapping, is just take a moment to be present what it is that they're feeling before the mind starts creating the stories. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, be present. I'm feeling this overwhelm. It's in my stomach. And what's the event? Even if they don't know, I mean, I'm happy to give a formula after we discuss it. Let's say we don't have a formula, just to acknowledge to tap. Why tap? Because if there was a tiger here chasing you, you wouldn't be tapping. As a default, the physical act of tapping tells the body it is safe, right? So just by tapping, you're telling the body it's safe. We don't want to activate the sympathetic nervous system. We want to activate the parasympathetic. So the overwhelm, which is an overload of emotions, is activates the sympathetic nervous system, which is why the mother gets stressed out and why the mother may have physical symptoms and completely stressed out, right? So we want to make sure we calm the system down because it's on overload. And so by tapping, but I'm going to give the formula here to make it simple for everyone. So we have a few body parts that we tap. One is the side of the arm that changes the polarity of the body. Then we have here, which is crown, between the eyebrows, side of the eyebrows. This, I believe, is digestion, if I remember well. Under the nose, the chin, the arm, and where we have our bra, under the bra. And that's the liver point, which is the anger point. So that's a very helpful point. I use the wrists and the top of the wrist. Why do I use the wrist? Because there's tons of meridians that coming all the way. So if I've missed the point, this one covers it and it will cover the body. So here's the formula to make it very simple. I'm feeling overwhelmed because my car broke down and I need to fix the car and I have to pick my daughter from school. Okay, so now I'm overwhelmed. I won't be able to do it. Where am I feeling it? I'm feeling it in my heart. So even, and then I like to put a number, not once you've trained, you don't need to put a number. Why do we put the number? So you can create biofeedback to see that it drops. So it's not that we need the scale, but you see when you connect to the body that it's actually dropped. So right now, let's say it's a 9. So even though I'm so overwhelmed, I can't believe my car broke down and I have to pick my daughter in 5 minutes and my car is not running. I'm open to seeing things differently and maybe another solution is going to show up for me. And even though I'm so overwhelmed and I feel it in my heart, I can't believe I have to pick my daughter. She's off from school in less than 5 minutes and my car's not starting. It just broke down. I acknowledge this is what I'm feeling and I allow myself to feel this. Even though there's so much overwhelm, I really don't know what to do. My car just broke down. Who's going to pick up my daughter? I'm in complete overwhelm and I feel it in my heart. I'm open to see things differently and maybe something will come out of this. I'm overwhelmed. Now, when you go to the body parts, you can say whatever you want, but the key point to always say is the emotion of the body part. This overwhelm in my heart, this overwhelm in my heart. Who's going to pick up my daughter? This overwhelm in my heart. I can't believe my car broke down. This overwhelm in my heart, this overwhelm in my heart. I'm just so overwhelmed. I don't know if I can do this anymore. Who's going to pick up my daughter? I don't know what's going to happen. This overwhelm, this overwhelm, this overwhelm in my heart. Who's going to pick up my daughter? Who's going to pick up my daughter? My car is not working. This overwhelm in my heart. I made it very simple deliberately. This overwhelm in my heart. This overwhelm in my heart. This overwhelm in my heart. So once we've done 1 or 2 rounds, maybe a solution happens that I can call my next door neighbor, can't see at the moment, or miraculously the universe brings us something good and someone shows up in our home and gives us a ride, or something. I don't know what the universe can give, but a solution opens up. When the brain is in high beta, so let's discuss what overwhelm. This alert system, it's in the sympathetic nervous system and it's high beta. It's always programmed to see the worst case scenario. So once you're in the worst case scenario, you don't think of calling the next door neighbor, which is why tapping comes in, because now when you calm down, you know what? Her daughter goes to the same school. Maybe she can pick up my daughter. So that's why we're doing the tapping to calm the system down, to not use the default network, not be in high beta brain waves, and now see another solution, a creative solution. All our creative solutions happen when we change to alpha or delta brain waves. They never happen in high beta. Analysis will never give you the answer to your problem. Analysis. So that's why we tap, we calm the system down, and that emotion got processed and left the body. So we accomplished many things. We released the chemical process from the body, we brought the body back to safety, and now we can see.
Yes. And that makes you, so I've taught my audience before, I don't know if they've all listened to this episode, but about the polyvagal theory. And it's just super simple. Just like think of it green, yellow, red. And green is when you're connected, you're calm, you're, able to think of solutions. As your body goes into that stress and anxiety and overwhelm, you're in the yellow, and that's that fight or flight. And then total shutdown is when you get to the red, and that's that depression, slow, low energy where you're just completely shut down. And so I think of it always, when I hear this, is like in colors. So it's like you're in yellow, and how can you go back to green? Because you can find your solutions and be more connected. So when your daughter does get picked up, you're not going to start like freaking out at her and be like, my car, right? Like we want to be down in our green so we can say, hey, welcome home from school. I'm sorry I couldn't get you. My car broke down, right? And just be more in that like calm, connected state. How does that resonate with you?
It actually maps up, because that's what you're doing. You're not in the dorsal mode, right? So you're getting back to your vagus nerve, right?
Yes. Yeah, I love it. Man, I think this is such a helpful tool. Is there anything else that we didn't add that, might be helpful to kind of round out the conversation?
Just know that when the mother calms down, because I know that you have a lot of mothers, it does get reflected towards your outer environment. And if your children are teenagers, because they're still learning, now they're learning these traits that you picked up perhaps from your own parents, and that pattern can stop. So you are changing. It's a matter, there is a little delay, but the outer world is going to change to your benefit. Important thing. Reality is fluid. There was the Nobel Prize in 2022 for noun locality, that we're the ones rendering the reality. So if we actually calm down, we're going to render a calmer reality in the outer world. So if there's a challenge between a parent and a child, by breaking those energetic bonds of high stress, you're going to ultimately change the reality with your children. So no matter how you look at it.
I think that is a great message, because a lot of times moms won't necessarily do something for themselves, but they will do something for their children or other loved ones. We all know that that's kind of the way we are wired to, care and serve and nurture. And so I think that's just such an important call to action for moms today, to realize that if you are constantly living in this, the sympathetic nervous system is really active and you're always in fight or flight stress response, that you're really doing a disservice to your teenagers, because, or any of your children, or any of your family members, because you're passing that to them, and then they will recreate that in their adult lives as well. So if you can take care of yourselves, I think it would be awesome if you all got in touch with Sophia Torrini. And so how can moms find you going forward?
Absolutely. They can come to my website, tapintoyourbestself.com, and I offer a complimentary session if they want to get some information. It's a half hour. so they can get information. I also offer an hour masterclass to learn these principles of neuroscience. I have a blog. And of course, I have a lot of informative media, social media, and videos on YouTube and TikTok. And it's Tap Into Your Best Self. So they can find me very easy. And my goal is to help more people see there's another way we can create. We don't have to create from stress anymore the way our parents did, or from a survival mode. We can create by being in the flow.
That's beautiful. I love that. I know so many moms that could use that message, especially starting off the new year, kind of everybody's thinking of new ways of doing things. So I think that's fantastic. Well, Sophia, it was wonderful talking to you today, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate you having me on your show.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Take care.